Hi folks, I'm Caleb with Emergency Water, and I'm here today to talk about the 10,000 gallon water filtration kit. But first, I want to talk to you about why this is important to me. I came up with this idea while attending a seminar where a gentleman firmly believed that there will come a day when money wouldn't have any value and we would have to barter for the resources that we need to sustain life. And he said, "What is your marketable skill?" He said, "Mine's teaching. What's yours?" And I started thinking at that point, I had spent about half of my career in the water treatment industry, and my marketable skill is cleaning water. And I started to think, if I can teach other people how to clean water for themselves and their family, and a lot more water, that they can have a very valuable marketable skill, a very valuable marketable commodity that they can trade with others and thrive in an enduring disaster situation. And so that's why I thought of the 10,000 gallon water treatment kit for you. And I'm going to show you how you can make it at home with components that you can get at a hardware store. So this is what it is. The 10,000 gallon water filtration kit is a slow sand filter. It takes a few components, and I have 2 buckets here and a lid. I have a few components in here. A spigot, and some barbed hose connections like this. I have a bag of granular activated carbon. There's about 4 pounds here. I have some coarse sand. And what's important is this washed silica sand. You can't use any sand. You don't want to use the sand that you get for your kids for their play box or their sandbox. You don't want to get the sand for like mixing concrete or mortar. You want to make sure that on the bag it says NSF. That means it's certified to touch components, that those components can touch drinking water. So make sure that yours has that. So some of you might think, sand is dirty. Sand isn't dirty. If you remember, lots of us drink water from glasses that are made from sand. Glass is made from molten sand. And so sand can be very clean. If you get the right sand, you can have a device that can clean large volumes of water and get it very clean. So I'm going to show you in just a minute how to do this. First, separate your bucket. So you have 2 buckets. These buckets are made of FDA approved plastic, high density polyethylene plastic. And the first thing we're going to do is start poking some holes in it. This is going to be on the bottom, and I'm going to put a spigot right there and another hole for water to come down from the top system. I don't want to do it too close to the bottom because I'm going to have to screw a nut onto the back side. Okay, I'm going to clean the plastic away from that. If you have a kit at home, I would pre-drill these holes, so I wouldn't wait until there's an active disaster scenario. I would go ahead and poke the holes and then put it in the corner of your garage with all the ingredients to make sure that if you do need to pull it out and filter a large volume of water, then it's already available for you. Okay, so it has 2 holes there. Let me just check something here. Oh yeah, that's going to be great. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is put the spigot in. And the spigot, this is important. You're going to have some sand at the bottom of your bucket here. You want to make sure that the sand can't come out. You're going to want to make sure that the sand can't come out into your cup when you're filtering it. So you want to put this screen inside your spigot. Right there. It can be pretty tricky. We have an easy way to do that for you. There we go. See how that screen fits right inside? All right. So I'm going to take the nut off. there's 2 gaskets here. We're going to put a gasket on each side. There's a gasket here on the front side. I'm going to slip that in. I'm going to turn it sideways. Then I'm going to put a gasket on the back side. And then I'm going to screw this nut on. And it's going to get nice and tight so no water can come in through the hole, or the joint. Yeah, just like that. Okay, next step, I'm going to get this barbed hose connection. This barbed hose connection fits with the vinyl hose. I have this FDA approved Bunaplastic gasket. You want to put that. There you go. You want to put that on the front. I'm going to slip this through. I have a little device that I'm going to screw on the back here. This is an elbow. This is an elbow. And the water is going to enter here from the top. It's going to gravity drain down through this barbed connection. And then the water is going to meet this elbow and come back up to the top. And the reason I'm doing that is because I don't want for the water to come in from the top and disturb that top layer of sand, and I'll tell you later why that's important. So I put another gasket on the back end here. Alright, and we're going to screw it on nice and tight so no water can get through. And that is great. Nice. Okay, and the rest of this goes in right here. Alright. There you go. This is what it looks like on the inside. Got the 2 connections. The next step, we're ready to add the sand. And I put, and you don't have to, you can put a fine sand, but I put a coarse sand at the bottom. And when you work with sand, it's a good idea to use a dust mask, because the silica dust can get in the air and cause problems for your lungs. So I'm going to put this in here. All right. Okay. And the sand comes up to right about there. I don't know if you can see the shadow, but it covers the faucet. And the next step is to put in granular activated carbon. The granular activated carbon, a lot of people think that that is the key to every filter, but activated carbon only pulls out or only filters organic material or material that has a carbon molecule. And that could be hydrocarbons like fuels and solvents, and it could also be pesticides or anything with a carbon molecule. The fine sand, which you'll see here, which is the next step, the fine sand filters out all those other tiny particles that could be heavy metals, it could be the inorganic materials, the radioactive materials. All right, so we're going to fill it right up to the top. There we go. All right, and we're good to go. And now, let's see. Okay, the pipe that I had was a little too tall. Now I'm going to put the lid on and seal it up. You can use any kind of hammer for this. Just happen to have a rubber mallet. The next step is to poke a hole in your top basin. This is where you're going to put the raw water source in the top. Put a hole here. Clean off the plastic. Clean out the plastic on the inside. All right, and you have a little hole there. And my last barbed connection is going to go right there. All right. Okay. So this barbed connection gets a gasket here. Just take it through. And then on the back side, put another gasket so no water gets through. And then I have this bushing that's designed for a 3/4 inch. We're gonna screw it down nice and tight so no water can get through. And there we go. Now the last step is to pull the hose from the top down here to the bottom with my handy dandy knife. Stick that on. All right. Now the water can get through, and I'm going to put a hose on the bottom, barbed spigot, and this hose can go anywhere else. I'm just going to put it into this bucket, and the kit that I sell comes with a shorter hose, so it's just going to be about that long. All right, and that's it, folks. You've got a slow sand filter. And now what I'm gonna do, I have a special treat. I got some river water, and I'm gonna put it in here, and we're gonna see in a few minutes how well it filters. This is what I picked up from Jordan River, close to my house here in South Jordan. It's kind of dark and muddy. I'm going to pour this in. Oh, nice. Oh, all right. So there you go. I'm going to bring this closer up here so you can see what it looks like inside. So there you go. It has a lot of debris in it. It's just raw water from Jordan River. And it's coming out here. You can see that there's water in the tube. It's coming out here, and then it's going up the pipe, and then it gets into the sand, and the sand comes down, or the water comes down through here and into the bucket. And I'm going to post another video after a few minutes to show what that looks like. And after it gets going, it can filter about a gallon a minute. All right, folks, thanks for joining me.